Remember when you were a little kid and you dreamed and everything was possible? And you wanted to be an astronaut or a nurse or a doctor or a lawyer, or you wanted to rule the world, you wanted to be a billionaire. You had dreams, man. They were big and they were huge and nothing was going to stop you. When's the last time you dreamed? You had to dream to be able to create your ideal life. Folks, you got to quit working for the people you work for. You got to quit working for a paycheck. You got to quit just getting by, and you got to quit setting goals based on just money. You need to base your goals and your desired outcomes on your dreams. You know, you need to think big, dream big. You need to go to work for your dreams, the things you've always wanted. And then you'll be inspired. And then you'll want to make your dreams happen. Are you tired of just getting by? Come on, remember when you were a kid. You didn't think in terms of making $8,000 a month. You didn't think like that. You thought about being the richest person in the world because it was possible. The little guy, 4 or 5 years old, got a brain smaller than the one you have right now, and that was good because the brain wasn't in the way. Dreams were big. Nobody could tell you. I know little kids that can out-ski me. You know why? Because they know they can. They can do things with a snowboard that I can't do because my brain gets in the way. See, when you were a child, you were going to make big things happen. And somewhere along the line, mommy, daddy, aunt, uncle, friends, relatives, somebody said, no, you can't have that. No, that's not right. No, you're being greedy. You shouldn't want that. So I want you to stop the video right now. And I want you to remember way back when you were dreaming. What did you dream as a child? When you were a kid, what did you dream of? And I want you to write it down.
It's been 30 years just figuring out where I'm going. Had no idea I would be doing what I'm doing. I had ambition, so I've always been ambitious. I've always wanted more for myself and my family. I grew up in a good family, so I don't have anybody to blame. Nothing bad happened to me. I lost my dad when I was 10, and that really that impinged, really messed, kind of threw me off. I was not good in school. My grades would not show that I was smart. I wanted to do something. And it was just that from 9 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I was just bored. And then when I finally got out, I got in trouble all the time. So when I got introduced to drugs, I was 15 or 16 years old, and then within a year, I was using drugs every day. I lost my older brother when I was 20 years old. So I had, between 10 and 20, I had these two big losses. So both my male mentors were gone, and I kept waiting. But when my dad died, I was waiting for an uncle to show up and help me. Anybody, I would have taken anybody's help. You could have walked up and said, "I'll help you, kid." I'd be like, "Let's go." And that's kind of how I went off the wrong path. There was no good guy saying, "Hey, let me be responsible for you." It was terrible, man. It was terrible. The drugs are one thing, but the degradedness of the individual. So by the time I'm 19, I was as close to zero as a person can get. And I'll go lower than that before it's over. So all these messages, you're getting punched. Even John Kennedy's death, right?
It's a big deal, right? I don't think people understand.
I was 5 years old, man. I'm 5 years old. I'm in a house. I don't even know what I'm watching. I just know that there's grief in my house, on TV. There was grief in the entire nation. You feel this event happening, and I'm starting to have these, and they're being re-stimulated as time goes on, right? They're mounting on top of one another, and they're punching in a message. Which by the way, there's some goodness that comes out of that, because
the time is now.
Yeah, exactly. Time is now. Be in a hurry. And also, dude, if you punch on anything long enough, you could actually change things. My life is about punching. I'm a puncher. I punch a lot. I punch hard. But mostly I punch persistently. Kind of like life did to me. I've learned to punch back. I was beat up. I had 70 stitches put in my head and face with a guy pistol whipped me.
Why was that happening? You talked about that incident before. Blood
Because
all over the room.
I told another dude, this guy said something to me and I said something to him and he sent a boy, to teach me a lesson. That just beat up the self-esteem even more.
Okay.
It degraded me another level because now you can't even stand up for yourself, dude. Now I'm in a space where there's criminals and gangsters and real physical harm. I don't know how to get out of this space, and I don't know how to play by those rules because I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy that will beat up somebody. I'll do what I can to protect myself, but I won't play that level. So now I'm in a terrible place because I can't win in this space. So I'm 23. I'm in the hospital. I'm gonna quit drugs now. I was doing drugs before the day was over. I couldn't stop, man.
Yeah.
So 2 years would go by. My mom, my mom had this little business going on. She was trying to run this little business, and I walked in. I was all sloppy, loaded, and she's like, "I'm done. Don't come here anymore. You're not welcomed here anymore. This might be the last time we see each other." And I was in a treatment center 30 days later. I had tried to quit at least 10 times a day. I quit drugs for 9 years. Today, I'm gonna quit. 5 minutes later, I'm using. So every day, it's not just the drugs. It's not just what you're doing to your body. It's like the number of times I quit and couldn't quit, right? And then started again. It's just like you start losing any sense of self-respect. I had to get out of the environment, had to get away from the drugs, had to get if you're addicted to sugar, you just got to take the sugar out of the house. So I made the first 3 days, I didn't even know where I was. Day 5, I'm like, what's going on? First 5 days in 10 years that I had been without drugs. People look at me today and say, "Oh man, he's cocky and he's this and he's that." They see the plane and da-da-da. Dude, nobody knows what's going on the inside of me, So that I was coming out of that deal just fragile, broken. The drugs were the least of the problems. It was my self-esteem was crashed. I had no money. I didn't believe in myself anymore. I had no confidence. I was in debt. I had lost, my reputation was damaged in the community I lived in. It was damaged with me. I was the black sheep of my family. Not even my family didn't trust me. I didn't trust me. And then so I made the 28 days and I went back. I was working in a car dealership and I went back there and turned my whole life around. I stole money from my mom. I had to clean all that up so I could walk back there strong. And so I've just been slowly rebuilding my life. And today we got 17 little companies that all do pretty well. A real estate portfolio that we're building that's going to one day be something, really to be something to be proud of. And I'm trying to help people right now.
By the time I'm 16, I was so angry that I told my mom, I said, one day I'm gonna get rich. I think there was this grind going on. I'm gonna get rich one day. I'm gonna get so freaking rich that I can help other people. Because really what I wanted somebody to help me. When I was 25, I just made a real commitment. I'm gonna become a master at this thing that I hate, by the way. If you can put your ego aside, when you wanna turn your life around, put your ego aside and say, hey, I got this one thing in front of me. I don't even like it. If you can learn to get great at something you hate, I guarantee you will have greatness in your lifetime.
I think that their work is a gift from God. When I hear people talk about the job, I've seen the 4-hour work week and the idea that you won't work for anyone, that you can't have a job. It's disgusting to me.
Explain.
It is it's disgusting that anybody would want to outsource everything. I hear guys say, I don't do stuff I don't want to do. Who are you? Who's taking care of you then? How arrogant that you wouldn't do something you don't want to do. I do shit I don't want to do every day. We drove over here 45 minutes. I don't want to fucking sit in the back of the car. I don't care how nice the car is. I do stuff constantly I don't want to do. It doesn't matter what I want to do. What's my purpose? What's my potential? And am I willing to work toward that? So sales, hated sales.
People would be shocked to hear you say that.
Hated it. I was in 5 sales jobs, was a disaster at all of them. Hated, absolutely hated it.
But you're the master of sales.
I am. I embrace the things I hate. Look, if you told me, hey man, I got this opportunity for you to work part-time, I have zero interest. I want to be great at what I'm doing. And I know without reading any book, I have to dedicate time and energy, effort, and I have to hit. I have to be frequent. It's taken me 30 years to find any kind of success or any sense of, okay, I'm starting to find myself. You know, probably 2,000 or 3,000 speaking engagements before I felt like I was comfortable on stage. 3 businesses that were freaking jamming before I said, you know, you might actually be a legitimate businessman. You know, now we're at 7 businesses. We'll do probably 150 million bucks this year. I'll hit $1 billion in real estate probably before the year's over. I'm just starting to feel like, you know what, maybe I'm gonna make it, you know? And it's interesting when you commit to something, little gifts just start automatically showing up. It's a phenomenal thing. It's happened my whole career. When I fully commit, somebody will bring me something. If you just like super commit, and then keep your eyes open. And by the way, the package may come wrapped in a package you weren't thinking about. Like all throughout my career, it's come in weird kind of ways. A guy walks up, he gives me it was a little cassette tape. He's like, hey, I heard this, I thought you might like it. I listened to it, I was like, oh my God, there's a way to sell stuff. I didn't know there was actually something you could do. I listened to it, I called the 800 number. I said, what else do you have? And the guy said, we got a program for $3,000. This is 25 years ago, so it's like 10 grand, right? So I said, I'll call you back. Called my mom, I said, I need to borrow 3 grand. First money I ever borrowed outside of college. She gave me the 3 grand and it changed my career.
Wow.
And then when I listened to this guy, and then I got this set of tapes and I'd watch it on sales and how to be a salesman, how to negotiate. I'm like, this is what I'm gonna end up doing for a living. I'm gonna teach people how to do this. Because there was such a vacancy and a void of it years ago. But what happened was, what I didn't like was some of the trickery in it. What I did was went in over the years and removed the trickery and basically made transparency and the authenticity in sales the way to service people. And now that's become a multi-$100 million business for me. The 10X thing was about, I'm pushing, like if it's in the business, I'm gonna push as hard as I can on that. And my kids are with me, my wife's with me, they're with me. So they're having the experience of this push. Then we turn around, we push over here. Oh, we want to help charities out. And we push 10X into that direction. It just blows out the edges of the life, right? So that we get to have a bigger experience as opposed to, okay, now I need to put this here and manage this part right now. Which means when I'm doing this, when I'm finding time just for my kids, I'm abandoning all these other things and my life gets smaller. Like what I do is I just push into everything, right? I push into everything as hard as I can. And again, the goal is life. It's not the business. It's my life, right? Business is part of my life. So having fun is part of my life. My spiritual part is part of my life. So I'm gonna push everything into that thing that I'm working on. I think that there's a shortage of real men on this planet. I think most men are, I mean, frankly, just pussies. You know, I don't know if your audience can handle that word, but look, man, if you can't get your money right, something's wrong. If you can't take care of your family, you got to ask yourself, how much of a man are you? Like for me, that identifies me as a man. My ability to take care of my family. I don't just mean financially, but I do mean financially, right? My job as head of household is to take care of the economics of the household. My job as a man is to provide a place where it's warm, a place where we can sleep, a place where we're protected, a place where there's food. right? Not money, right? I need to be able to take care of the family, shelter, food, clothing, and I need to have some fun. My family wants to have fun. We want to have experiences. So I need to provide a secure environment for them so they're not think bad things aren't just happening. And so men need to like bone up, man. Like the government can't take care of you. Bone up. You know this?
Yeah.
Bone up. Get strong, right?
Get strong, yeah.
So get a backbone and take care of your family and quit blaming the government or your neighbor or the economy or whatever conditions. Look, I've had some terrible conditions in my life. From the age of 15 till 25, it was awful for me. 10 years, nobody would want to go through the 10 years that I went through. Do some people have it worse than I did? Probably, but I don't want to do those 10. Those 10 years were terrible for me, as degrading as a human being can experience. So I understand what goes on through for a person when they're making bad choices, and people just need to man up, you know, bone up. The women need to do the same thing, by the way.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are spending way too much time on their ideas and their thoughts. The script they're gonna write, the book they're gonna write, the music they're gonna produce. Dude, you just do something, man. Do. Like my meditation is this, D-O. I'm on the do. I'm doing stuff, right? And doing, when I start moving this glass, I'll start figuring out how to move this thing around and what happens to this table when I move it, and it shakes, and it, you know, how many of the 3 stools and what happens with the ground. People don't do enough. They think too much and they don't do enough. I do more than most people do.
A doer.
I'm a doer, man.
That's nice.
Simple, man. Just do stuff. People need to be educated that the most important thing is to increase income, not manage money. See, this is all people being told. They say, reduce your expenses. This is what most people are taught. Just manage how little you spend. But what you should be doing is figuring out how to increase the income. But we're not taught that. We're taught how to manage down rather than increase up. So the first thing people need to be, like, people just need to be retaught. You need to increase your income. How do I do that? First, you make a decision to increase your income, that is senior to reducing your expenses. My mom thought she was going to reduce our expenses. Sold the house. Okay, that's less of a burden. You can't go up by going down. I told my mom when I was 16, I said, well, I was pissed off. I was angry, rebellious, you know, the teenager. And I said, one day I'm gonna grow up, man, and I'm gonna be freaking successful, and I'm gonna help a lot of people. And now I'm doing it, you know. To become rich, you need to decide, you know, it's not just money either, right? So, I know I've known people that had more money than they could spend, but they were miserable. Misers, scared, burying money in their yard, never spent it. They died with the same amount of money that they had. That's not rich. So it's not just how much money, are you having fun, you know?
That's important. Yeah.
You know, do my kids think well of me? There's a lot of ways to be rich, but I don't think you can be rich without money. Before everybody gets carried away, oh yeah, I'm rich.
Yeah.
Dude, if you don't have any money, you're not rich. Because then you're worried. Because really, how can you really take care of your kids? How can, you know, if you can't provide, if you're worried about money, you're not being a dad at that moment. You're gonna doubt yourself in the beginning. Everybody's gonna be like, that's stupid. First of all, there'll be nothing. There'll be, in the very beginning, there's like no response to you at all.
Yeah.
You're invisible. Then there's gonna be a little bit of contempt and there's a suggestion that you're wrong. And you'll go into self-doubt about it. And then you start getting used to it, you start working it out, and then people are like, you know, they really don't like you now. Then the third level will be
the bigger you get.
Oh yeah, now you're really wrong, and people will start writing about you, talking about you, right? And then at the last level, there'll be admiration. No longer contempt. Actually, they'll flip and say, you know, I always knew you were going to be great, man. When I was a young salesman, I was committed fully. Like I was more committed than the management. I was more committed than the owner. And the manager used to set he'd say, your target next month. I'm like, dude, you don't set my target, bro. You don't even know what I'm capable of. So when somebody says, you should be so proud of what you've done, like when you say, I'm so popular, no one even knows me on this planet.
Yet.
The number one rule in creating success is to show up, to merely just show up. In fact, it's been said that 90% of all success that people encounter is about showing up. Just show up, folks. You ever known someone that got lucky a lot? You know what they did? They showed up. You can't get lucky if you don't show up. So suit up and show up. All highly successful people know that they have to show up. And that's what they do. They just keep showing up. What does showing up mean? Hey, it means simply getting out of bed in the morning. You know, sometimes when you don't want to get out of bed, you just get up and get out of bed. Nothing comes to someone that sleeps except a little rest and a few nightmares. Get out of bed in the morning. Put your clothes on. Take a shower first. Put your clothes on. Go to your place of work. Make the phone call you need to make. You know there's a call sitting there right now that you need to make. And you're wondering, what should I say? Just make the call. You'll figure it out. Call comes in, take the call. Customer walks up, address the customer. Show up, folks. Just do the next right thing. You have an appointment coming in? Show up for the appointment. Be there. Be early. There's a girl you want to call? Pick up the phone and call her right now. There's a guy you want to call? Pick up the phone and call him and find out what's going on with him. You want to go surfing? Get a surfboard. I don't know how to surf, Grant. You don't need to know how to surf. Get the board first. Hit the ocean. You'll figure it out.